Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining our webinar, Stay Successful, Membership Matters with CLIA. Joining us today is Margaret Murphy, CLIA's Senior Vice President of Marketing and Training. Margaret will present CLIA's view on the top skills you need today to grow your business, along with showing agents why being part of the CLIA family is a great investment in you. Margaret, go ahead whenever you're ready.
All right, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Jacqueline, for the introduction. You may or may not be familiar with CLIA, but I would like to let you know that our CEO, Christine Duffy, uh, she is a former travel agent. She actually started her career as a travel agent, and of course today she heads up CLIA, which is the world's largest travel agent membership association. I started my career as a reservationist with Delta Airlines. So the reason I'm mentioning that is I think both Christine and I have a real sensitivity to how valuable your time is, and we have personally lived a bit in your world. So I'm going to get through the webinar today in a quick 30 minutes and cover two topics. The first thing that I want to talk about is at CLIA what we're seeing as some really critical skills that travel agents need to stay on top of. So the first part of the webinar is how do we see the skills emerging that travel agents really need to make sure that they're embracing. And then the second part of the webinar is just a bit on how CLIA is setting ourselves up to better serve our travel agent members. So two topics. One is about your skills, and the second one is a bit about CLIA. So I'd like to get started with, I think, where you start your day every day, and that's with looking at your client or your prospective client. So the good news about consumers today is that no matter what their age is, their gender, their income, their lifestyle, today's consumers have three things in common, and they all have an underpinning of technology. So the good news is no matter who they are, they've got three things in common, and it's important for us to know those. The first thing is that they expect us to understand them. You and your clients and me, all of us willingly give an awful lot of information to the people that we buy things from today. So if you think for a moment about being in a brick and mortar store, very often the sales clerk, when you're checking out, will ask you for your postal code or for your telephone number, and sometimes even for your address. Or they certainly may ask you to fill out a survey. So we give a lot of information in person, but we give even more information when we're online. We're willing to share an awful lot of private information. And companies supplement what we're willing to share with data that they can buy. So while this may sound a bit scary, and I know that there's legislation in Canada and in other parts of the world that are attempting to, make sure that privacy is protected, the reality is that we've been trained to share a lot of information because we get something in return for that. And what we get in return is that the companies that we do business with understand what our preferences are. So they know what we're interested in. They even know what we might be interested in. And we've come to expect them to understand us. So the first thing today that consumers have in common is they expect us. They expect travel agents to understand them and not to waste their time putting a cruise vacation in front of them that is not a good fit for them. The second thing that consumers expect is they want the interaction with us to be on their terms. They not only want to participate in the process, they want the process to be designed to match how they want it to be. So for example, they may want to shop online for their cruise vacation. Plus they may want you to send them materials. Plus they may want to come and see you and meet in person. Or maybe they want to communicate primarily through email. But they want this shopping experience to be customized and designed to what they prefer. And the third thing that all consumers expect today is they expect communications to be increasingly more visual. They want images. They want videos. They don't want to read long articles. For example, YouTube. This is not an exaggeration or a fact that I'm making up. each of us would have to live to be 1,000 years old just to see all of the videos that are on YouTube today. You would have to live to be 1,000 years old. So visual is becoming more and more the way that people want to communicate. I don't know how many of you are looking at Pinterest yet, but Pinterest is a highly visual social media site which really lends itself very well to travel. And the other thing that's important to know about Pinterest is that a year ago it was being operated out of someone's apartment, and then it became the first social media site to reach 10 million users in history. So it is growing by leaps and bounds, and while your clients may not be there yet, they'll probably be there pretty soon. So because our consumers expect us to understand them, and because they expect things their way, and because they want to see it more than they want to read it, one of the skills that we see emerging and that we strongly recommend that you embrace is you need to know the technographics of your client. So if you think about your ideal client, the one that you would like to have 25 more just like that client, you really need to understand this term technographics. It's kind of like demographics, only really what it refers to is how do they prefer to use technology. So on the slide you're seeing now are some ways in which all of us interact digitally or interact with the world around us. And if you go around clockwise, at the top, the little telephone, actually, that's representing a smartphone. Today, more and more people have smartphones. YouTube. I've already talked about YouTube. A lot of people really like YouTube. Facebook. Facebook says they have 900 million users. Now, that is a global number, and there are many countries outside of Canada and the U.S. where the percentage of people, like, for example, in Mexico, who are on Facebook is higher than it is in North America. But there are 900 million users, but not all of them are signed on every day. But some of them are signed on all the time, every day. And then there's Pinterest, of which I mentioned. And the envelope with the little sign on it, that represents email. In the mailbox, regular mail. Some people open all their emails. Some people open every piece of mail that comes to their home. Constant Contact is simply a newsletter service. I'm just using that as an example. There are many others. People also read newsletters, electronic newsletters. The little @ sign in the circle, that represents your website. And then there's LinkedIn, and then there's Twitter, and then the orange square, that represents your blog. And in the middle is a mobile device. And the reason that's in the middle is that this year, for the first time, more people will access the internet through a mobile device than they will through a desktop. And that is a fundamental shift in how we use technology and how we interact. So while your clients may not be on mobile right now, I promise you in the blink of an eye, they are going to be moving more and more to mobile. And mobile is not just a smartphone. Mobile is about a tablet, an iPad. It could be a Galaxy tablet. But it's about these devices which are now come in 2 or 3 different sizes, and some futurists tell us that in the not too distant future, you'll have one of these just lying around in every room of the house, and it's going to be the way that you communicate. It's going to be the way that you control your heating and air conditioning. These are going to be really a wave of the future. So you need to make sure that you're embracing this movement toward mobile. Now, one thing that I'm going to suggest that we do as an exercise is in this simple graphic. I've got a person in the center with a circle around them. And what we're saying here is, they can do all of these things if they choose to, or they may do some of them, or they may only do one of them. And what you need to know, if you want to know their technographic profile, is you need to know what their preferences are. So in this sort of ugly line drawing that is around the person now, what I've attempted to do is where the line touches, those are the preferences of this hypothetical person. So in this person, starting at the top, they have a smartphone. They don't read your blog. They like YouTube. They have a mobile device in addition to their smartphone. They're already on Pinterest. They open all their email. They're not on Facebook too much. They don't open everything that comes to their house in the snail mail. They don't read your newsletter. They don't visit your website. They're not on LinkedIn, and they're not on Twitter. So this is just a hypothetical person. So the first thing is, for your best client and the clients you want to be just like that client, you need to be thinking about, could you draw this squiggly line and really know what your client's preferences are? Now, one thing to think about is, remember on the left in the circle with the @ sign, that is representing your website. So let's say you've invested a lot of money in your website and you want people to come to your website, but they're not really visiting your website. But you know, because you've done your homework, that some of your best clients are on Pinterest. So then you get on Pinterest, have some great images on Pinterest, and then you put some enticements there that basically say to them, look, go to my website and you can find out even more. So now you're using one form of social media to drive people to the social media that you would like for them to use. And the same thing down at the bottom of this graphic. If you know they open their emails, maybe you want to send them something in an email that entices them to go to your Facebook page if you've made a big investment in your Facebook page. So while it's important for you to know what they prefer, it's not, out of bounds that maybe you would try to direct them from what they prefer to where you would also like for them to be. So when people tell you you need to be on all of these forms of social media, that's not necessarily true. You need to figure out the ones that are most relevant for your consumers. Now, very quickly, I'm going to kind of change gears on you and talk about another kind of technology that I'm sure you've seen, and you may or may not be very, very familiar with this. This is a QR code, and that stands for Quick Response. It looks like a maze, and you see these a lot of places. If you're, I don't know about where you are, but I do know that in some countries like Japan, for example, you can go into a supermarket and a head of lettuce will be wrapped in plastic and there'll be a QR code, and you can take your smartphone and you can scan the QR code, and then you can look at it and it will tell you where the lettuce was grown and when it was picked and when it was shipped. So the genius of the QR code is that you take a smartphone, you scan it, and then some new information, even a video, can appear on your smartphone. So one thing that you might want to do if you haven't done it already is you can go get a QR code that is simply your business card. And on your QR code can be embedded your name, your business, your email address, maybe your specialty, your phone number, the addresses of your social media sites. And you can take that QR code and put it on the back of your business card or put it on the front of your business card. And then when you give that business card to someone, they can scan it and all of your contact information will automatically download into their contact list on their smartphone. So that way if they lose your business card, they've already got your information. And it also makes you look very tech savvy to be using this. So all you have to do is search on QR code generator. Usually the business card application is completely free. You just have to fill it out. So select the supplier that you want to use and create a QR code for yourself. So again, just another piece of advice that we're giving agents about, making sure that you're staying ahead of the curve on technology. So one of the ways that I want to close out this first session, and we'll be moving into the second part in just a moment, is that only you can really calibrate the balance between how much your clients want to engage with you personally and how much they want to engage through technology. The very large companies that know a lot about each of us, they can't create this balance. So, only you can know, for example, if your client would really appreciate a handwritten note when they return from a cruise, and that they are on Facebook, and that they really, really love their mobile new iPad. And so you can understand those things, and that gives you a way to really strengthen your relationship with your client. One of the things that you can do by way of a test in order to sort of a little quick homework assignment is ask yourself and be very honest with yourself. How do you prefer to engage with your, excuse me, with your target customers or your prospects? Do you prefer to speak to them on the phone? Would you like for them to come in person? Do you want them to go to your website? If you could force them to do what you want to do, how would you prefer to do that? And then ask yourself, do I know what they would prefer? How would they prefer to interact with me? Because it's really much more important that you understand the answer to the second question. And once you understand that, let's say you decide that Facebook, for example, is going to be a major way in which you communicate. So you have to know the rules, and they're not really rules, they're guidelines. You have to know what are the Facebook guidelines. So, for example, um, Facebook has evolved today to where really your post on Facebook should probably not be any longer than a tweet. And a tweet is what, 140 characters? So really, people don't want to read on Facebook any long paragraphs. They want it to be very short and very sweet. The other thing they want on Facebook is they want visual. They want images. And they also want you to continually update your Facebook posts, but not always be talking about yourself. Because, when you go to a party, if you meet someone new and all they do is talk about themselves all the time, that's not very interesting. So it's also not very interesting if your Facebook page is just all about your business. You need to have your clients posting there. You need to post their photos there. So what I'm talking about is if you're going to be, Facebook is going to be a big deal for you, you need to make sure that you understand the guidelines today and you also understand how Facebook is evolving so that you are sure that you're staying about at least one page, metaphorically, you're staying one page ahead of your clients with technology. So to close out this session, every day, 2.5 quintillion bytes of information are created, new information, globally, every single day. 2.5 quintillion, that's 18 zeros. That's created every day. But as human beings, our brains can only absorb about one millionth of that information. So your clients, when they look to you for expertise, the expertise that they expect from you is that you are finding the information that's most relevant for them. They don't have to sort through a whole universe of information. You're not only finding what's most relevant for them because you understand them, but you're presenting it to them in the way in which they prefer for it to be presented. So let's move ahead and talk a bit about CLIA. So I don't know if you are members or not members. If you are members, thank you very much. And if you're not members, I certainly am interested in having you join the CLIA family. CLIA has been in the business of supporting travel agents for almost 40 years now, and that's an awfully long time. Um, a lot of things have changed since 1975, and I jokingly say I know that Aerosmith and Steven Tyler were here in 75 and they're still here now, but most everything else has changed since 1975. But we have not changed our mission, and that is to focus on travel agents. We have had to change a lot of the ways in which we do it, and I'll talk about some of the other changes we're making. But that's what we're in the business of, is supporting our travel agent members. I think it's important to know, and this is a U.S. figure, so a U.S. figure, because I didn't have another figure available to me, is that 64% of all cruise vacations are booked through a travel agent. I actually think in Canada, that figure is probably a bit higher. So, the message here is that your clients need you to guide them in a cruise vacation. They need you to help them select that and to help them through the complexity. Now, they have some basic expectations, and some of these we've talked about. And I've underlined the word basic because these are basic expectations. At the top, they expect you to know what's new about cruising, the new ships, the new amenities, the new destinations. They expect you to be on top of what's new now and what's coming. They expect you to get them. I've already talked about that. And by that, I mean they expect you not only to understand um, what's new in cruising, but to understand what will be of most interest to them. And of course, they expect value from you. They expect you to understand and use technology. And they expect you to have expertise and credentials. And when I'm working with travel agents, um, I, I often ask travel agents, um, what is memorable about you? Why do your clients do business with you? And the most common answer I get is my expertise. And that's a great answer. But when you think about it, that's a basic expectation. I mean, after all, you wouldn't go to a doctor who said, I don't have a lot of expertise as a physician, but I'd like for you to be my patient. So expertise is a basic. What you have to do is be more granular in defining your expertise. What is your special expertise? And why should they do business with you? What is different about you? So, I would definitely encourage you to think through that and think through what is your special expertise. And then, of course, today, people expect us to be always on 24/7. So given that, and given that you're trying to climb this ladder to more and more sales and to more and more success, and even if you're already successful, you want to sustain that. You don't want to go backwards. So in this world of really a lot of demanding expectations and a lot of fast-paced change, how are you supposed to stay ahead? And what we say is, that's where we come in. We want to help you, complete this puzzle. We want to make this journey with you and to be a resource to you. And so we're positioning ourselves to continue to do that. We are the world's largest cruise association. We have over 11,000 agency members and 26 cruise line members. And I apologize in advance. When Jacqueline and I were working together on this particular slide, it just didn't translate through, so I apologize for that. But at the highest level, what CLIA offers in terms of benefits is we offer training, we offer certification, a booking number, and recognition. So we know from our feedback that we have the most comprehensive training in the industry, not just in cruise industry, but we're told in the travel industry. We have a very comprehensive certification program, a booking number, and recognition. And I'll talk very quickly about each of these. In terms of training, there are two types of trainings that you see primarily when it comes to cruise. First of all, the cruise lines themselves do a lot of great training about their products. And when cruise lines do training, what they're teaching you is they're teaching you about the various products, the ships, the destinations, the itineraries. They're teaching you about who are the target consumers for those various ships and destinations and products. They're all about the cruise brands and making sure that you understand those. And there are 26 CLIA cruise lines who are doing that. How CLIA is different, but in partnership with the cruise lines, is we're all about agent skills. We're all about focusing on the skills that you need to be more successful, not just at selling cruises, but at growing your business. We're focused on sharing the best agent practices with you, focused on helping you with your marketing and your selling. So we're much more focused on your brand and helping you create and sustain a strong personal brand. And we have 40 CLIA seminars. Those seminars are delivered in classroom settings, and we deliver them online. And in 2013, we're going to be adding a lot of, I would call it, it's online, but it's interactive online type training. And we're going to be revising our curriculum, and we're going to be trying to put more training out there that is very um, entertaining and quick and to the point and highly relevant for you. So a lot of work is going to be done in 2013 on training. In terms of certification, we offer a comprehensive certification that has everything from a basic level of certification up through specialty levels and master's levels of certification. And I want to say a word about certification for a moment. You may not realize it, but for a consumer, even if you are just a member of CLIA and you have the CLIA logo on your business card, or if you're in a storefront office, if you have the CLIA logo in your window, The fact that you have joined a professional organization, that you care enough to do that, sends a message to your consumers, even if you're just a member, if you haven't even gone to the next level of certification. But if you go and become certified in a specialty or become certified just in cruise in general, then that lends even more credibility to you. We know from our research that agents who go through certification and complete certification see their sales grow. We have seen research numbers that are as high as 2.5 times once they complete their certification. We know that their recognition by the consumer of them increases, their trust in you increases, their confidence in you increases, and it's all about making a stronger brand for you. So today, with consumers going on the internet and there being this whole universe of the quintillion bytes of information, it becomes more and more important when you're talking about your expertise that there's actually an official certification to that expertise. So that gives a higher sense of confidence to consumers. When I talk about a booking number, um, CLIA offers a booking number, and by that we mean it is a number that can be used to be paid commission. Our agency members who are non-affiliated, independent agents, they use the CLIA booking number not only to book cruise vacations, but the CLIA booking number is accepted at a lot of major suppliers, hotels, resorts, theme parks. So if you are an independent, non-affiliated agent and you require your own booking ID, as an agency member, you can have that with CLIA. And let's talk a bit more about recognition. I talked about the certification and putting these things on your materials so that your clients can see them and so that it enhances their confidence in you. And the cruise lines know that you are certified um, and that you are a member of CLIA. And by being a member of CLIA, not without even being certified, by being a member of CLIA, you get special pricing. For example, at our annual conference, which is the largest cruise conference in the world, it's in Vancouver in June of 2013, and you can search on Cruise 360 and see all about it. You get special pricing on all of our training. We have member-only events like National Cruise Vacation Week, where as a member you get all kinds of support and help. And we're going to be rolling out new marketing tools quarterly in 2013 to better support our agent community. So again, the primary benefits that you get are training, certification, booking number, and the recognition. But we do an awful lot of communicating, and I could spend a lot of time telling you about that and about the community and the CLIA family. But at the highest level, here's what we offer. Again, on this particular slide, Jacqueline and I had a bit of a translation difficulty, but I do want to let you know that in a moment we're going to do a drawing and for a $50 American Express gift certificate for everyone who stays on the webinar. And before we get to that, I would like to remind all of you that if you join CLIA before the end of this year, or if you renew with CLIA before the end of this year, we're giving away an iPad every week. And, kind of a little secret, I think I'm going to extend that through January. But the good news is the sooner you renew, if you don't win the first week, we put your name into the next week, and the next week, and the next week. So if we extend through January, you're going to have about, probably 7 or 8 chances to win. And we've given away an awful lot of iPads. We're also giving away American Express gift certificates. So in closing out this session, what I would like to say to you is what I said at the beginning about CLIA. We've been in this business now for almost 40 years, and our focus has not changed. In 2013, we're going to be making a lot of change, but like you, we can't do everything at once. If we're going to be advising you to optimize your website for mobile, we've got to do the same thing. And we're going to be focused on those. They won't all happen at one time, but I can promise you that CLIA in 2013 is not going to look like CLIA did in 2000 or 2005 or even like we looked this year, because we are committed to staying just maybe a step ahead of you so that we can help you stay a step ahead of your clients. And I appreciate your attention. I think we got through that in just about 30 minutes. And Jacqueline, could you draw a name for us for the gift certificate?
I definitely can, Margaret, and that was an amazing presentation. Thanks so much. Just give me one moment, and I'm going to draw through the registered participants. And I picked Paul. Paul from YYZ Travel. Thank you so much, Paul, for joining us today. And you're the recipient of the gift card provided generously by